Firewalk Studios and PlayStation revealed a first look at their upcoming game Concord, which is a 5v5 hero shooter game, and it was lampooned by viewers for absolutely ugly character designs. And now we are learning that the lead character designer for the game, John Wisniewski, is a woke activist. And he's not just any woke activist, he is pretty vehement against whites acknowledging their privileged position, so much so that he claims that the judicial system is white supremacy. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And just so I can show you, this is, what is this? I don't know what that is. I wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And before we dive into this, just want to show you that John Wisniewski, this is his LinkedIn profile. It says that he is the lead character designer for Firewalk Studios. He was previously the principal gameplay designer for the game. Obviously, they are indeed the developer behind Concord. I think it's safe to say that he is the lead character designer for Concord. And as I noted, this game has been very much raked over the coals for its ugly character designs. We had user GPE Tracus on the gaming subreddit writing this: Concord might have the ugliest character designs I have ever seen. And then shared a picture of this one of a fat black woman in a suit of armor. She looks like she's supposed to be, I guess, a actual like tank is what they're probably trying to go for. They even have kind of like a flag there in the background as like maybe the muzzle for the tank or something. It's just hideous. Others agreed. You've got this person saying, yeah, I'm not too keen on the character design either, but I'm also tired of the Pixar toon look that most team shooters have had since like 2007. It's like they asked ChatGPT to make Overwatch again, but strip it of all identity, said another user. And then piss yellow, moldy green, wine purple, and blue lipstick. Who 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 the F thought this was an acceptable color palette need to go. So obviously not happy with this ugly character design for the character. Wasn't just on Reddit. We have X user Mangaloria writing this: Concord is a new progressive and modern shooter for PC and PlayStation. It features 5 black women, 4 aliens, 3 robots, and 1 white man. It's incredibly diverse and non-heteronormative. Plus, it has pronouns. Are you excited? Yeah, all of the characters have their pronouns in the upper right corner next to their name. So you see Amari here, and then underneath of that, it gives like their role, like so whatever they're calling the tank class, and then it has the pronouns listed. This character up here in the featured image, Lark, it literally has undecided where the pronouns normally go. I mean, so you know that this game is going to be pushing gender ideology, gender insanity, and trying to brainwash people into buying into that stuff too. But we also had former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Herm. He said this: Concord, the new game by Firewalk Studios, is so focused on inclusive teams that they forgot the white guys in their game. Inclusive should not mean racists against white people, but it too often does. Ironically, we've got John Wisniewski here responding to Peter Kotevsky, who was a former Bungie lead programmer. And he wrote this on X back in June 2020. Thinking that all white people are unconsciously racist is the same as thinking that all black people are unconsciously lazy. And Wisniewski replied, this is an oversimplification. The sentiment being expressed is that whites must acknowledge their privileged position and then actively work for equality. It will be hard and confronting work, but if we don't, we're complicit, and complicity allows systemic racism to persist. So he clearly is buying into this idea that there is some kind of systemic racism being perpetuated by white people. The facts are this is completely not true. We see that all of these major corporations have quotas to hire non-white people. They are literally pushing inclusive character design as part of their policies. It's literally systemic against whites now, and that's just the reality of it. That's what it is. You look at all of these video game companies, what their policies are, what the types of games that they're doing, the character designs that they're giving us. It's literally all anti-white, and it's systemically being done. So this guy is an absolute clown, and he's saying this stuff here completely devoid, detached from reality. Katevsky wasn't buying what he was selling, and he said it is literally racism to ascribe responsibility to an entire group of people because of actions of individuals that belong in the same collective, especially when that is a collective based on pure random chance and not a conscious decision of its participants. I would argue that it's not random chance. We're all created by God, and He created us with a purpose. It's not random whatsoever. But nonetheless, he's obviously pointing out that what he's saying here is indeed ridiculous. It is. And he goes on and says, I've never been racist, never been the cause of anyone's disadvantage. I understand that there are racist individuals, and I am not white by choice. Saying I share responsibility with slave owners or with racist cops is literally like saying all criminals are black. And Wisniewski said, I'm not accusing you, myself, all whites of being Jim Crow racists. I also don't think anyone hearing it should immediately take it that way. Whites in America have always had an advantage in our social economic justice systems just because we're white. Well, tell that to the Italians, tell that to the Irish immigrants. You're an absolute liar. No one believes what you're selling, or at least I am not buying what you're selling. It is utterly ridiculous. It is indeed a lie. Nevertheless, he went on and says, doing nothing and saying, well, I'm not racist allows it to persist unchecked. We need to acknowledge the advantage we've had and use it to help others pursue equality and justice. That needs to become the new I'm not racist, using your privilege to erode that very privilege. So again, he's just pushing this nonsense that Katevsky here has basically told him is absolute bunk. So he's not even listening to what Katevsky is saying. He's just trying to push his ideology on him at this point. Part of that is humbling myself to listen. People are angry. It's okay for them to yell inflammatory statements. I do it too. I don't think it comes down to the technical accuracy of their rage and whether or not that results in an accusation towards me. It's not about me. He then said, I also know that when we do the work to listen and learn, we'll likely find that even though we're not racist, we probably could have been doing a lot more to work against subtle and systemic racism all around us. That's been true for me and many other white Americans. So I'm not replying because I think you're wrong, nor am I trying to say you're a racist, even though you don't feel racist feelings. Just offering an appeal to hear the humanity coming from the black community right now. Let's help them. Nothing but love for you, Peter. So this guy is absolutely ridiculous, claiming that there is some kind of uh, white privilege and all of this stuff, and there always has been. Utterly ridiculous. It is a lie. It is devoid of the truth. It is devoid of historical fact. It's just simply not true. And just to kind of show you just how out of touch this guy is, he like just a couple months later in September 2020, he shared some thread here claiming that everything is white supremacy. And even this guy here is like, I read the thread, and well, I think that the Proud Boys or what the Proud Boys are doing is wrong. I didn't at any point in that thread see any part that addressed white supremacy. In fact, even in the video, the big dude looks to be a person of color. Yeah, the leader of the Proud Boys is like Puerto Rican. He's not white. It's ridiculous. Nevertheless, he says this: the entire thread addresses white supremacy. Proud Boys are white supremacy. Police brutality is white supremacy. The entire penal judicial system is white supremacy. I mean, what happens if it's a black cop putting down like a riot or something like that? Is that white supremacy if a black cop is doing it? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. These people are just so filled with hate against people of a certain skin color. Even if it happens to be maybe the skin color that they have, they hate themselves and they hate other people that might happen to look like them. It's just utterly ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't pass the smell test. It's illogical. And they just want to hate. And that's exactly what this guy is doing. He's just hating on people based on their skin color. I mean, he literally says this: the entire penal judicial system is white supremacy. Are you kidding me? What are you even talking about? It's such an absolute lie. Uh, these people just delude themselves. They've literally warped their minds so much that they've created a fantasy and are trying to apply that fantasy to reality and get you to buy in to their sick, deluded fantasy. And in order to destroy you, it's absolutely wrong. He says the whole thread, white supremacy. I mean, what an absolute lunatic. There's absolutely no way that this guy's ideas, his thoughts, the stuff he's saying in 2020 was not being put into this game. Again, let's go back to the LinkedIn profile. He says he was working as the principal gameplay designer for Concord in November 2019 to October 2022. He began as lead character designer in January 2022. So I think this guy's ideas have not changed. I haven't seen anything where he says that he doesn't believe any of this stuff anymore. He doesn't really post a lot anymore, if I'm being honest, but like I would wager that he still believes a lot of this stuff. That's why you get these absolutely ugly, disgusting character designs, because he's trying to push this stuff into the game. He's trying to get you to buy into this stuff. He's doing exactly what he was doing here to Peter, basically just shouting at him, trying to get him to buy into whatever he is selling. And he's going to try and do it through this game. And they're obviously going to try and do it through their narrative. They talked about how they're going to have like vignettes every month that they launch a new season, and it's going to be exploring the characters' relationships with each other and all this other stuff. So he's going to be definitely pushing that stuff in this game. And he's probably working with the narrative teams to do that as well, given the fact that he was indeed a gameplay designer and now he's the lead character designer. So he clearly has probably significant sway over this game. But that's why this game is dead on arrival. I hope no one purchases this game. Obviously, there will be people who will probably buy it, check it out. But hopefully, maybe Firewalk Studios will be shutting down their entire studio 6 months after this game is released, because no one is purchasing their game, and the funds that they got to try and make this have run up and run dry. Because we don't need to be seeing more woke ideology pushed from people like John Wisniewski into games. We just don't need it anymore. We don't need people's brains being infected by this stuff. And this stuff is indeed wrong. It rejects the truth. It's divisive. It basically labels people based on what their skin color is. You saw it right there. He's saying that police brutality is white supremacy and the judicial system is white supremacy. It's just utterly ridiculous, and it's just wrong. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.